What's up, fifth grade? Mr. G here, another episode of Mr. G's Math Videos. In today's episode, we are going to be learning how to use the standard algorithm for division. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we've got our first problem that we're going to look at, 1,740 divided by 12. Now, in this problem, 1,740, we call that our dividend. That is just our total. The 12 is known as the divisor. That's just a part. And then the answer to our division problem is called the quotient. That is just another part. So that's kind of the structure of division. Now we are going to be using a little saying to help us with our 4 steps. Mom, sister, brother, rover. Now, each of those letters in each of those words, the first letter stands for a step in our process. The M in mom stands for multiply. The S in sister stands for subtract. The B in brother stands for bring down. And the R in rover stands for remainder. If we have a remainder, we want to make sure that we include it in our quotient. If the remainder is 0, you do not need to include it in your quotient. All right, let's go ahead and jump into our process. So in standard algorithm, we use a bracket. The total or dividend goes on the inside of the bracket, and the divisor or the part we know goes on the outside. And I like to put a multiplication symbol in the corner of this bracket just to remind myself what I'm really doing is 12 times an unknown number is equal to 1,740. So 12 groups of something equals 1,740. All right, once I have that set up, the next thing I'm going to do is my hashtag. This is where I'm going to list out all my divisors, my facts for 12, because in 5th grade, we start working with larger divisors. And guess what? Not all of us know our 18s or our 24s or even our 12s. So we use a hashtag as a strategy to list those out to help us with the process of division. So the first group of 12 is 12. 2 groups of 12 is 24. 3 groups of 12 is 36, and so on. 48, 60, 72, 84, 96, and then 9 groups of 12 is 108. Now that I've got my hashtag and my facts listed out, I'm ready to go ahead and start dividing. The very first question I want to ask is, how many groups of 12 go into 1? Well, 12 is too big, so 0 groups of 12 go into 1. So I put a 0 above the 1. Then what I want to do is combine the 1 and the 7 together. So now I have 17. I'm going to have that repeatable question. How many groups of 12 go into 17? We're going to look on our hashtag and look for a number as close to 17 as possible. We can be on 17, we can be under 17, but we can never go over it. I cannot give away more than I actually have. So the closest I can get is 12. That's one group of 12. So I write a 1 above the 7. And now we're ready for that first step. Multiply. 12 times 1 is 12. And then I immediately go to the second step, subtract it out. So I'm going to minus 12. That's going to give me a difference of 5. Now the third step, brother, that stands for bring down. I'm going to look to the next place value, the tens, and bring that 4 down to my 5. That's going to give me a total of 54 tens. That repeatable question, how many groups of 12 go into 54? So when I look at my hashtag, the closest I can get is 48. That is in the 4th position. So that means 4 groups of 12. So I put my 4 in the quotient above the tens place, multiply it out, which is 48, and then I subtract it. 54 minus 48 gives me 6. And then I bring down the next place value, that's 0. And now I have 60. How many groups of 12 go into 60? When I look at my hashtag, I see 60 is on my hashtag. That is in the 5th position. So I write a 5 above the ones place. And then I multiply it out. 12 times 5 is 60. I subtract it. And that gives me a difference of 0. So I do not have a remainder, so I do not need to show that in my quotient. So my answer is 145. All right, let's take a look at one more problem. 864 divided by 24, that's my dividend divided by my divisor, and I am looking for the quotient or missing part. There's our 4 steps: multiply, subtract, bring down, bring the remainder up to the quotient if needed. There is my bracket, 864 on the inside, 24 on the outside, and here's going to be my hashtag for my 24s. So one group of 24 is 24, two groups of 24 is 48. And now if you are having trouble skip counting with your 24s, think of another way to think about 24. I could think about it like maybe 20 plus 4. So if I have 48 and I add 20, that gives me 68. And then 4 more, that gives me 72. If that's still a little bit too hard, then break 24 even further down. What if I thought about it like a 10, and then 4 more? So 72 plus 10, 82, plus 10, 92, plus 4 more, 96. So if you're struggling to skip count by those larger divisors, think about easier ways to break them down. Usually that's going to be in groups of 10 and then whatever extra part you have. So 96, 120, 144, 168, 192, 216. So my first step, how many groups of 24 go into 8? That's going to be 0. 8's too small. So then now I combine the 8 and the 6. How many groups of 24 go into 86? Look at my hashtag. The closest I can get is 72. That is in the 3rd position, so I'm going to write a 3 above the tens place. I multiply that out, 24 times 3, which is 72. I subtract it. 6 minus 2 gives me 4. 8 minus 7 gives me 1. And now I'm ready to bring down my next place value. I'm going to bring that 4 down, and now I have 144. I'm going to repeat that question again. How many groups of 24 go into 144? And I can see it's actually on my hashtag, and that is in the 6th position. So I'm going to go ahead and write 6 in the ones place, multiply it out, which is 144, subtract it, and that's going to give me 0. So since there's nothing left to bring down, I don't have a remainder, so I don't need to bring that up and include it in my quotient. I'm all done with my problem. There are 24 groups of 36 in 864, so 36 is my quotient. All right, so we have done 2 problems together. You've seen that process. You've seen how we just repeat the process. The only thing that's changing is our numbers, but the process stays the same. So now it's your turn. You have 2 problems to try on your own. I'd like you to pause the video, get some scratch paper, work these problems out, and then once you have your answers, unpause the video, and then I'll go through those answers together. All right, so you've unpaused the video, you've got your answers. Let's go ahead and take a look at this first problem, 784 divided by 14. There's my hashtag with all my 14s. So the first step was asking yourself, how many groups of 14 go into 7? 0. So then you asked, how many groups of 14 go into 78? And hopefully you saw that 70 was as close as you could get. That's going to be in the 5th position. So we wrote 5 above the tens place. We multiplied it out and subtracted 70. And that gave us 8. We dropped down the 4. So now 84. How many groups of 14 go into 84? I see that's on my hashtag in the 6th position. So I write a 6 in the quotient above the ones. 14 times 6 is 84. I subtracted it out, and I had a remainder of 0. So hopefully in that first problem, you got a quotient of 56. Now, our second problem, 975 divided by 15. There's my hashtag with all my 15s. And again, that process just repeats. How many groups of 15 go into 9? 0. How many groups of 15 go into 97? 6 groups, because 90 is as close as we can get. 6 goes in my quotient. I multiply it out. I subtract 90. That gives me a difference of 7. I bring down the 5, and then I repeat the process. How many groups of 15 go into 75? 5 groups of 15 go into 75. So I write my 5 in the quotient, multiply it out, subtract it, and that's going to give me a remainder of 0. So the quotient to the second problem is 65. All right. How did you guys do? Did you get them both right? Awesome. If you did not get both of them right, that's okay. It just means you need more practice, which is how we get better at anything in life is we just keep practicing. So maybe go ahead and rewatch this video again, look at those steps and really think about what is the process of division. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for me. I appreciate everybody watching. You guys are the best. Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button. You'll get notifications anytime I post new videos. We are almost up to 50 subscribers, so I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all my students watching these videos. I can really be telling that it is making a difference. You guys are getting better at math. Scores are coming up. So I'm really proud of how everybody is working. All right, that is going to do it for me. Until next time, Manta Rays, keep on mathin'.